How is it good, everyone? Today I'm here on my 23rd birthday, of course, here with my WWE NXT UK TakeOver Blackpool review. Of course, NXT UK TakeOver Blackpool aired live on the WWE Network this morning, this afternoon, this evening, whatever you may live. Of course, time varies, so I don't really know exactly where it aired for you, but for me, it aired this morning, of course, on the WWE Network. And overall, I gotta say, coming out of NXT TakeOver, or NXT UK TakeOver Blackpool, sorry, I apologize. I thought it was a solid show. I didn't like it as much as others. You know, I saw a lot of people really raving about this show, saying how amazing it was, how fantastic it was, and me personally, I thought it was a very good show. It was solid. The main event's absolutely incredible and a must-see match, but besides that, I really wasn't blown away by anything else in the show, to be perfectly honest. I thought everything was at least on good to very good, and the main event I thought was fantastic, but besides that, I just wasn't really into the show all that much. I was kind of watching it and not really having my full attention, you know, to it, and it, you know, it could have been because I was tired, so I wasn't maybe fully awake watching this show, but I don't know. I've noticed, you know, any UK show under the WWE banner, I just can't get into. You know, even when the inaugural UK Championship tournament took place 2 years ago, you know, I thought the shows were good, but I didn't think they were anything that great. Even the specials last year, you know, with the NXT UK Championship special and the 2018 UK Championship tournament, I thought they were just good shows, nothing really blown away. So, I don't know, it could be that, you know, British wrestling isn't my cup of tea, or at least under the WWE banner at least, or just, you know, maybe isn't really as good as people might be, you know, thinking it is. But I don't know, bottom line is, in my personal opinion, you know, I think pretty sure a lot of people disagree with me, but in my personal opinion, I thought it was a very good show, and that's just how I felt about it. I wasn't really too blown away with it, but that's just my opinion. And of course, the first match we had to start and open the show, which, by the way, phenomenal opening package. I thought that was very well done. But the first match we had, of course, was the inaugural NXT UK Tag Team Championship Tournament Finals. Of course, the teams being Mustache Mountain taking on the team of Zack, Gibson, and James Drake. This match really wasn't all that great to me. I know a lot of people are raving about it, especially towards the end. And the match did get really good towards the end, but that's how I felt like was the good part of the match, was the end. The last 5 to 8 minutes was really good. The first 15 to 20 weren't very good prior to that. So, I don't know. I mean, the story was good. You know, the entire story was the fact that Mustache Mountain was able to avoid, you know, Gibson and Drake doing blind tags and, you know, getting the upper hand by doing that. So, although they played a great role in that the story was very well paced, especially at the beginning. You know, it was very constant tagging back and forth because both teams had each other, you know, scattered out well enough to know what they're going to do and were able to avoid it and prevent it from happening. So, it did have really good flow to it. It's just, you know, it was very basic wrestling, and of course, it got a hot, you know, final stretch of it. So that's how I felt about the match. You know, it's some good moments, like I said. You know, Gibson and Drake were able to outsmart Trent Seven, do a blind tag, and work on him for a good majority of the match. They worked on his left arm or right arm, I believe. One of those arms they were working on a good majority of the match, working on that, of course. And then, of course, Tyler Bate got a huge hot tag. He just ran absolutely roughshod, did the airplane spin on both of them, which was just absolutely tremendous. Tyler Bate's so much fun to watch, and I can honestly watch him anytime. He's a joy to watch. He's very underrated, if you ask me. And then, of course, you know, at one point, you know, both Seven and Bate were both locked into Shanky Gates by Gibson and Drake. So that was a nice spot where, you know, they almost tapped, or at least Trent Seven almost tapped because he's a legal man, but we're not able to tap out. So that was a great moment. Then the finish was absolutely awesome. At one point, you know, James Drake hitting a 450 on Trent, but Tyler Bate breaking it up. Tyler Bate hitting, they did the spot where, you know, Trent Seven does the Dragon Sleeper Suplex, which, by the way, we did it with one arm because, again, he was selling that one arm. So great storytelling right there. And of course, Tyler Bate did the rebound lariat for a nice near fall, and then Zack Gibson, or I forgot, someone pulled Tyler Bate out and put him on his shoulders, and then I believe it was Zack Gibson who broke up the pin, or pulled Tyler Bate out during the pin, and then James Drake actually came through the ropes and ended up doing a doomsday device to Tyler Bate on the outside, which looked absolutely awesome. Trent Seven tried to do a suicide dive, but James Drake ended up hitting him a drop kick in midair, back in the ring, ended up hitting their tag finisher, right to Mayhem, or whatever it may be called. I'm just going absolutely blank on the finisher called. Hit it on to Trent Seven for the 1-2-3 victory. So James Drake and Zack Gibson are your inaugural NXT UK Tag Team Champions. I was really hoping for Mustache Mountain to get the win here, especially considering that if they would have won, Tyler Bate could have claimed he was the first ever UK champion and first ever UK Tag Team Champion as well. But, you know, like I said, I thought the match was very good. You know, the first 15 minutes weren't very fun, but the last 5 to 8 minutes or so really picked up, and that delivered a really fun ending sequence. So, and by the way, Mustache Mountain played a great homage to the British Bulldogs with their gear, which I thought was great. Ended up hitting their finish at one point as well in the match, and I just thought it was a really good opener. Didn't blow me away like a lot of people got blown away by it from what I'm seeing, but I still thought it was a really good match for what it was. From there, I would go to which was supposed to be Travis Banks taking on Jordan Devlin, but of course they showed a video package before the match, or a clip before the match, where Jordan Devlin ended up attacking Travis Banks before the match. Of course, I played into it. Travis Banks hit a suicide dive before the bell rang, tried to attack Jordan Devlin. Jordan Devlin ended up fighting him back, ended up throwing him into the steel steps, worked on his leg. So at this point, Travis Banks is in no condition to compete. Jordan Devlin gets in the ring, says since this match is canceled, it's interview time with Jordan Devlin. Johnny Saint comes out with the ring announcer and says that they thought you might have pulled this, so we planned a plan B just in case you did. And of course, plan B ended up being Finn Bálor. So the match got switched from Travis Banks and Jordan Devlin to Finn Bálor versus Jordan Devlin, which I know is a huge match for a lot of people, especially considering it was, you know, student versus teacher, considering Bálor trained Devlin. And the match itself I thought was good. I didn't think it was that great. I don't know, it's kind of just, to me it looked like they had a bunch of like things planned for the match, but when it came to execution it just didn't click. I don't know, you know, at the very beginning, of course, you know, Bálor tried to beat Devlin early, you know, went for the corner drop kick, sort of by coup de grace, but you know, Devlin got out on the outside, ended up working on Bálor's back for a good portion of the match, you know, worked over. Then they played pretty much a game of what you can do, I can do better. You know, like Jordan Devlin would do him in the abdominal stretch, and Bálor would do it. Bálor would go for like a pay leg, but then, you know, Jordan Devlin would do a pay leg right after, so it was kind of a game going back and forth of who was going to do what. And then finish came, you know, Devlin went for a 450, but Bálor got his knees up, hit the you know, drop kicks, and then hit the coup de grace to get the win over Jordan Devlin. So Finn Bálor defeats Jordan Devlin. Like I said, I thought it was a good match, but it didn't blow me away. From there, we go to the no disqualification match between Bomber Dave Mastiff taking on Eddie Dennis. This was a fight, you know, right from get-go. You know, Eddie Dennis introduced some kendo sticks, beat Dave Mastiff with them. Mastiff was able to grab him at one point and ended up to use them against Eddie Dennis. They went to the outside, you know, and Eddie Dennis ended up revealing the floor, which comes to play later on in the match. Back in the ring, you know, Eddie Dennis showing a tremendous strength that, you know, just being able to grab Mastiff as he went for a crossbody and just slam on his steel steps. I thought, you know, his strength definitely showed, and it showed as well when Dave Mastiff at one point went to the second rope, and then, you know, Eddie Dennis caught him into the razor's edge, you know, hit it, and just showed off his strengths once again. You know, Dave Mastiff hitting a huge Finley roll onto the exposed flooring on the outside that Eddie Dennis introduced, so I thought that was a great part of the match. And then a table got introduced, Dave Mastiff hit a German suplex, and then a cannonball into the corner through the table to put away Eddie Dennis. So Dave Mastiff defeats Eddie Dennis, and which I thought was a really good match. You know, I thought they had a healthy fight and definitely utilized the no disqualification stipulation to its fullest, and I thought it was a good showing. And I thought Eddie Dennis looked really impressive, and Dave Mastiff was just a beast. So yeah, that was that match. I thought it was really good. And from there, we go to which was Toni Storm challenging Rhea Ripley for the NXT UK Women's Championship. Before the match, they actually introduced out ringside Kaylee Ray as well as Jazzy Gabert. Of course, they took place in the Mae Young Classic over the last 2 years, and they announced that they will be part of NXT UK going forward. So it was pretty cool to see them signing with NXT UK. But going back to the match, although the match was very good, I thought Rhea Ripley and Toni Storm told a pretty good story. You know, very early on, you know, Rhea Ripley tried to run away from Toni Storm. Toni Storm was able to cut her off, and then the way Rhea Ripley took back control was she actually had to pull Toni Storm's hair, and that's how she took control of the match, and that actually played into the finish, which I really liked. You had some really good back and forth wrestling. You know, at one point they both hit their finishers. Rhea Ripley was able to hit the Ripley tie or tie Ripley, whatever her finisher is called. Able to hit it, but Toni Storm kicked out. You know, Storm hit Storm Zero with a nasty headbutt. Like Rhea Ripley went for a clothesline, but Toni Storm countered into a huge headbutt right into the Storm Zero, which was, you know, very good near fall. That was it right there. And then they had some, you know, back and forth, and Rhea Ripley was looking for the her finish once again, but Toni Storm ended up pulling her hair, pulled her right into Storm Zero, hit it, and 1, 2, 3 is your brand new NXT UK Women's Champion. Like I said, I thought it was a really good match, told a really good story. The finish was really well done with them kicking each other's finishes, and that, you know, of course the hair pulling, which was what, you know, gained control for Rhea Ripley, ended up costing her at the very end. I thought played excellently, and I thought it told a really good story, and it was a really good moment as well with Toni Storm winning the UK, or the NXT UK Women's Championship as well. So really good match, really good moment, and I definitely enjoyed that match. And of course, we go to the main event, which was the WWE UK Championship match between Dunne defending against Coffey. this match was fantastic. Definitely the best WWE match so far this year. I thought these two went out there and had a hell of a match. And at first it was very slow. There really wasn't much to it. You know, Pete Dunne was just really working on Joe Coffey's arm and vice versa. It was just very slow, a lot of holds, not a, you know, pretty much a whole lot of nothing going on. And then out of nowhere, they just, you know, hit the gas pedal and started going 100 miles per hour. Great storytelling, a lot of great spots as well. You know, Coffey, they went to the top and then Coffey like fell, and my guess was they're supposed to hit the bitter end off there. I think that's supposed to be the finish, but they ended up falling off, and then they actually tried to recreate that spot again and ended up both falling off again. So the fact that they went for it twice, that was pretty funny, and failed twice, but you know, I could applaud them for trying. Joe Coffey ended up hitting a powerbomb off the top rope at one point when, you know, Pete Dunne had him triangle hold, did a powerbomb off the top rope on the Joe Coffey for a great spot. One spot I really love as well is they fought on the outside and had a near, almost both got counted out, you know, right before the 10 count. Literally the ref was going for the 10 as soon as they both went back in the ring. They both stared at each other, got up and started swinging for the fences, and like Pete Dunne would clock Joe Coffey and Joe Coffey would have to bounce off the ropes to keep himself up. I thought that was a tremendous storytelling right there. Just them brawling it out in the ring. That was just absolutely phenomenal, and just a lot of great counters, you know, just a lot of great, you know, stuff in this match. And you just had a whole lot of stuff going on. It was one of those times, it was literally like, it was like being stuck in a traffic jam and then just going 100 miles per hour right after. Like, that's exactly what they did. They were slow, and then they just were going crazy, and you couldn't blink because you'd miss something great. And I thought they played an excellent story. You know, Joe Coffey ended up kicking out of, I believe, I don't know if it was just one or two, but he ended up kicking out of the bitter end. And then Pete Dunne was able to kick out of Joe Coffey's finisher, so the crowd was going crazy. Pete Dunne hit another bitter end, Joe Coffey kicked out of it, and of course he transitioned it into the finger break, which before he broke the fingers, Joe Coffey just immediately tapped out. So I know some people don't like that finish, but you know, if I was about to have my fingers broken too, I'd probably tap out to be perfectly honest. So Pete Dunne defeats Joe Coffey, which was a tremendous match. You know, it was definitely a star-breaking performance to me for Joe Coffey. I mean, I've seen him stuff, but I haven't been blown away. I didn't definitely picture him as a main event UK champion material, but this match definitely proved that he can, you know, stay on that level and be believable. So I definitely believe it was a great performance from Joe Coffey, and just an excellent title defense from Pete Dunne. Fantastic main event. And of course, when we thought the show was over, they had the little, you know, trademark corner, the logo in the corner about, you know, the show's ending, and all of a sudden music hits, and who other than the ring general Walter comes out. He basically looks at Pete Dunne and goes, okay, cool, and my eyes are on you. And that made the entire show for me. Walter debuting and confronting Pete Dunne, that made the entire show for me. That was an awesome moment. I was excited for. It made me excited for the next NXT UK Takeover special, because I'm pretty sure that'll be the main event. Pete Dunne, Walter for the championship, and there's no other, you know, really no other person on the roster besides Walter to beat him. I definitely think putting the title on Walter and having him be the face of NXT UK definitely is the right plan. You know, Pete Dunne's pretty much beating everybody. And, you know, Walter, really, who's a bigger name besides, you know, Pete Dunne than Walter? So Walter coming out definitely gave me goosebumps. Really excited for that match in the future. Like I said, it'll probably happen in the next NXT UK Takeover special, but yeah, that definitely got me excited for the brand going forward. But besides that, like I said, I thought the show was very good. Just didn't blow me away as I was hoping. I just, you know, we had very good matches, and of course the main event was fantastic. But just me personally, I couldn't really get into the show. Like I said, I don't know if it's because I was tired or just, you know, I just haven't been able to get into the UK shows at all under the WWE banner. So I don't know. I just couldn't, you know, maybe it just isn't for me. But for my personal opinion, like I said, I thought NXT UK TakeOver Blackpool was just a very good show. Nothing more than that, in my personal opinion. But of course, if you guys have a different opinion, feel free to leave your guys' comments below about NXT UK TakeOver Blackpool. If you thought it was a great show, thought it was a disappointing show, if you have similar thoughts to mine, you know, feel free to leave anything about NXT TakeOver UK or NXT UK TakeOver Blackpool in the comment section below. And of course, if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like below. And until next time, I'll see you guys later. Thank you guys for watching the video.
The end is still glow when I'm so